Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of modern convenience to uncover the massive, invisible systems that are quietly shaping our global economy. Every second of your life, every single tap, swipe, and purchase is influenced by forces you rarely even see. So we're going to map them out together, from the phone sitting right there in your hand, all the way to the trillions of dollars pulling the strings. It's a fascinating map, and trust me, once you see it, you absolutely cannot unsee it.
Okay, let's dive right in. Just think about your own morning routine for a second. You got the smartphone alarm waking you up, right? Then maybe a quick social media scroll before you stretch, checking a weather app to see if you need a jacket. Before your feet have even hit the floor, you've already generated a wealth of data and interacted with several interconnected corporate empires. You might just think you're waking up, but to these systems, your day of data generation has already officially begun. Section 1. The invisible everyday empires. To really understand who pulls the strings here, we got to start by looking at the devices sitting right in the palm of your hand.
So, economists actually have a term for our relationship with companies like Apple. They call it ecosystem lock in. Think about how seamlessly your messages sync across your phone, your watch, your computer. It feels like pure simplicity, doesn't it? But actually, this creates a web of convenience that becomes incredibly difficult to leave, simply because trying to escape it would completely disrupt your daily life. I mean, nobody wants to be the person who rules the group chat by turning the blue text bubbles green, right? That social friction isn't an accident. It's a built-in feature of ecosystem lock-in, designed to keep you firmly planted right there in their walled garden.
And here's the thing. These tech ecosystems aren't just selling you hardware anymore. They're actively structuring your digital identity, your social status, your daily habits. Your phone isn't just a tool you pick up to make a call and then put away. It's an interconnected lifestyle system that's constantly learning from your behavior to build long-term dependence. It tracks your steps, manages your wallet, curates your memories. It's effectively become an outsourced hub for your actual life. Section 2. Transforming global commerce. Let's peel back the next layer and see how this ecosystem approach has fundamentally rewritten the rules of buying and selling, moving from the tech in your pocket to the packages arriving at your front door. $103.37 billion. Let that sink in for a second. That staggering number is just Amazon's revenue from third-party sellers in 2021 alone. That represents a massive 28.5% increase from the year before, which really just shows the sheer scale of their invisible commerce revolution. They aren't just a store you visit online anymore. They are the underlying, inescapable infrastructure for modern global trade. And the reality of modern retail is hidden right here in this split. Small businesses and third-party sellers now make up 60%, the vast majority, of Amazon's physical sales. These independent sellers are entirely trapped within and totally reliant upon Amazon's proprietary shipping, storing, and advertising infrastructure. If a small business wants to survive today, they essentially have no choice but to rent space on Amazon's digital shelves. Researchers from Northeastern University actually call this the trickle-down monopoly. Basically, to succeed in this really harsh environment, a small business has to mold itself perfectly to Amazon's algorithms. They essentially become smaller, leaner versions of Amazon itself. They have to act almost like day traders, frantically interpreting global data flows, tweaking keywords, and adjusting ad spends every single day just to get their physical products in front of your eyeballs. All right, Section 3, the surveillance capitalism machine. So how exactly do these platforms know what we want to buy, watch, or click on next? Well, it comes down to the core engine powering these empires. Academic research, like this thesis from the University of Arizona, frames this massive data extraction as surveillance capitalism. It dives into how our seemingly random internet traffic is harvested, not just to improve the services we use, which is what we're told, but as a highly valuable raw material in its own right. Literally every typo, every lingering hover over a video, every abandoned shopping cart, it's all scooped up to feed this machine. Now, it is absolutely crucial to understand this distinction. While raw data is just the technical footprint of your screen time, like spending exactly 15 seconds on a specific web page, personal behavioral data, or PBD, is the translation of those clicks into deeply personal psychological profiles.
It tells these companies what you fear, what you desire, what you might do next. They aren't just tracking where your mouse goes anymore, they're predicting where your mind goes. And that brings us to a really fundamental question raised by the sources. When a service is completely free to use, like search engines or social networks, whose attention is actually being sold? In modern capitalism, human behavior is the ultimate currency. Your attention is the actual product, being auctioned off to the highest bidder in fractions of a millisecond. Over $61 billion. That was Google's ad revenue for 2021. This staggering amount pretty much proves that predicting human curiosity is one of the most lucrative business models in human history. And keep in mind, this revenue doesn't come from selling you a superior search engine. It comes from selling access to your predicted behaviors to advertisers who want to be exactly where you are about to look. It basically operates as a highly automated futures market. Step 1, behavioral surplus is extracted from your digital exhaust. Step 2, massive computing power analyzes those patterns for hidden correlations. Step 3, algorithms predict your future behavior with honestly shocking accuracy. And finally, step 4, companies sell the ability to gently nudge your future choices. It's this incredibly efficient loop, all designed to optimize profit by turning human predictability into a tradable asset. Moving on to Section 4, the financial giants behind them. Because if you thought the tech giants were the final layer of this onion, just wait until we look at the quiet money funding them all. Let's follow the capital. So, sitting behind the algorithms, the data centers, and the massive supply chains, we find the big three index fund managers: BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street Global Advisors. These are the massive financial institutions that quietly hold the largest stakes in the global economy. They don't make products, they don't write code. They manage trillions of dollars in investments. That makes them the ultimate invisible architects of the entire corporate landscape. The sheer concentration of structural power here is kind of mind-blowing. As of 2021, these three entities alone wielded roughly a quarter of the voting power, 24.9% to be exact, across the biggest public companies in America. And because their collective stakes are just so massive, their preferences can essentially dictate corporate policy, board appointments, and long-term strategy across almost every single sector of the economy. But, here's the catch. Harvard Law researchers point out a critical agency distortion going on here. While these funds have immense structural power to ensure corporate accountability and good stewardship, their internal incentives actually lead them to quietly defer to the tech executives running the show. Think about it. They have very little financial incentive to rock the boat as long as the stock line keeps going up. This means this immense, centralized power goes largely unchecked by the very people who hold it. Section 5. Reclaiming our digital future. So, with personal data flowing up to tech giants and voting power concentrating in just three massive funds, where does that actually leave us as individuals? How do we navigate a world designed to map and monetize our every move? Well, sociologists at the University of Manchester warn that we can't just rely on what they call symbolic compliance. This is that classic corporate playbook where companies offer, surface-level social programs or flashy green initiatives without ever fundamentally changing their core data extractive business models. Real change means looking past the expensive PR campaigns and addressing the foundational structural design of these empires. As the anthropologist Margaret Mead famously noted, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. And honestly, this is the ultimate takeaway from the researchers. Structural corporate power is, at the end of the day, a human invention. Corporations are built by people, algorithms are coded by people, and these massive financial funds, managed by people. That means humans absolutely have the power to regulate, adjust, and change these systems. The future isn't some fixed trajectory. It's entirely adjustable. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this final thought. The greatest power we have against invisible systems is simply awareness. So now that you can see these hidden layers of data extraction, behavioral nudging, and concentrated finance, how will that change the way you interact with your screen tomorrow morning? Will you tap a little more cautiously or maybe scroll a little more intentionally?
Thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and stay curious.